So what's the area of this square? Or I can have a circle, or I can have a triangle, correct? Now what we're going to be talking about is surface area. Surface area is the area of a three-dimensional shape. In other words, if I have this three-dimensional shape right here, right, and I open it up, didn't mean to throw it at you, Jesus. Okay, I could find the area of each little piece and add them all up together. That's surface area. But what happens if I try and break it into little bitty pieces is sometimes we forget a little piece. Are you with me? So there's actually a faster way, and there's a formula you can use instead. The good news is all of the steps are using what we used this past unit. Okay? There's a formula, but all of the steps are pertaining to what we did in this last unit. So technically there's nothing new other than a formula to plug it into. Okay? So let's talk about surface area and the pieces that there are. The first thing that I want you to do is to copy down a few notes. Remember that prisms are named by their bases. Remember, a prism is made mostly out of what shape? A prism is made mostly out of what shape? Rectangles. Very good. Okay? The bases are going to be the ones that are congruent and parallel. And the lateral faces are the faces that are not faces. So prisms are made mostly out of rectangles. And then these two right here are going to be my bases. Notice that it's got mostly rectangles on it, right? And the shape that's not a rectangle, that's going to be your base. The shape that's not a rectangle is your base. And then last week on Friday, we also talked about the height. Okay, does anybody remember what would be the height of this figure right here? The which one? Right here? Right here. This is your height. Remember, it's the line that connects your two bases. Okay? So the height of the prism connects your two bases. And they're going to be 90 degrees. Okay, so we're going to start talking about lateral surface area. The easiest way for me to describe lateral surface to you is a can of soup. So think about a can of soup. What is a can of soup made out of? Tin or metal, right? That tin or metal is the total surface area. Okay? But on that can of soup is a label, isn't it? Does that label cover the entire can? No. What does it not cover? The circles. Those circles are your bases, correct? That label, that paper label, is your lateral surface area. So on this shape right here, okay, the triangles are my bases, right? So for lateral, I just want the area of the three rectangles. I don't want the area of the triangles. So we're finding lateral is everything except for the bases. Okay, but there's a formula. What does this big P stand for? Perimeter of the base, of one of the bases. Okay, it's the perimeter of the base, just one of them. Okay, you just need the perimeter of one of them. And then the height of the prism, remember we just talked about the height, it connects the bases, right? Okay, so let's take a look at the first example. It says find the lateral area, lateral surface area, same thing. So lateral equals big P times H. It tells you that in a regular pentagonal prism above, each base has a perimeter of 75. And then it tells you that the altitude is 10, so that's my height. So 75 times 10, 750 what? Centimeters squared. Remember, we are still talking about area. It does not matter what kind of area we're talking about. Area is always squared. Always, always, always. Okay? Now, one of the problems that you're having is that you don't know which formula to use. So you have to know what these shapes are called. So on number 1, somebody tell me, what is it made mostly out of? Rectangles or triangles? Rectangles. How many rectangles are there? 3. How many triangles are there? Okay, so it's made mostly out of rectangles. If it's made out of rectangles, what do we call it? A prism. Very good. What shape is not a rectangle? The triangle. Very good. So this is a triangular prism. Are we good? It's a prism because it's made out of rectangles, and it's a triangle because that's the shape that's not a rectangle. That means the triangles are our bases. So now we need to plug it into the formula. Lateral equals big P times H. What does the big P stand for again? Oops. Perimeter of what? Perimeter of the base. What shape is my base? The triangle. Very good. The triangle is my base. Remember we called it a triangular prism? So I need to add up all the sides. What's the problem? We don't have them all. So what would I do to find this one? Pythagorean theorem. Absolutely. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. 9 plus 16. That's 25. Take the square root. That means that this other side over here is a 5. So what is 4 plus 3 plus 5? Right? Because that's how I would find the perimeter. It would be 12. Very good. And then somebody tell me what's the height? 10. 10 is the height because it's the line that connects the two triangles together, right? So my height is going to be 10. So my perimeter, my base is 12, and my height is 10. So 12 times 10 is 120 what? Meters squared. Very good. That's going to be the answer. Are we okay? Okay, let's take a look at number 2. Is it made out of rectangles or triangles? Rectangles, that means it's a prism. Very good. And there is no shape other than a rectangle, so this one is your rectangular prism. Now, we're trying to find the lateral surface area. That means the area without the bases. So my question is, which one's my base? Is there a square up there? It looks like a square, but isn't a square. Okay, so let me ask a question. If this side right here is 10, how big is this piece right here? 10. If this piece is 8, how big is this piece? 8. And how big is this piece? 8. Are you with me? Okay? So my question is, which one do we want to use as our base? Did they tell us which one? And does it matter? Okay, well, our goal is to figure out, does it matter? So which one would you choose for your base? 10 and 8. Okay, so we're going to use this one as our base. So the first thing I need to do is find the perimeter of my base. So that's 10 plus 10 plus 8 plus 8. That's what? 36? Right? And then what's my height going to be? Is what? The 15. Very good. It's the line that connects the two bases, right? So if somebody tell me to find my lateral, it would be 36 times 15. What would you get?
540 inches squared.
Good. 540 inches squared. Okay? Who says, Miss Ramsey, I wouldn't have used that one as my base? Somebody in here wouldn't have, right? Miss Ramsey, I'd use the bottom one, wouldn't you? Well, let's go see. Does it matter? So let's use this bottom one as my base. How big is this backside right here? 15. So if I did my big P, wouldn't that be 15 plus 15 plus 8 plus 8? What is that, a 46? And what would I use as my height? What would be my height for that one? The 10, wouldn't it? So 46 times 10 is 460 inches squared. So my question is, did I get the same answer or not? No. Okay, watching. Okay, here's my shape. Remember, lateral is everything except for the bases, right? So this is the lateral. Like, think of a soup can. This is what you would have for a soup can. But what if I didn't use this one as a base? What if I use this one up here? So I would wrap it this way, wouldn't I? And look, it's short. Does that make sense to you? So when you're finding lateral surface area, and only when it's lateral surface area. If they ask you for total, it doesn't matter. I'm finding all the sides anyway. Okay, so total doesn't matter. But if you're finding lateral surface area, they have to tell you which one's the base in order to be correct. Okay, if for some reason I slip on a paper and I don't tell you, I will take either one. Does that make sense? In fact, I know there's one coming and I've tried searching for it and I can't find it. So I know there's one coming that doesn't tell you one way or the other. I'll take either one. Okay, but on the test, I for sure know it will tell you which one it wants you to use as the base. Okay? All right, backside. Total surface area. Total surface area is the metal it takes to make a cylinder. That's the whole thing, all of the sides. Notice that this first part is the formula we just used for lateral surface area. And why would they have to multiply something by 2? Because I have two bases. Very good. And that big B stands for area of the base. That big B says area of the base. So I want you to look at your formula charts that you have out on your desk. The stuff that we're talking about right now is this surface area part down here. And in that formula, it has a big B. Well, what does that mean? That big B says, come back to your area section and use one of these formulas depending on whatever shape your base is. Because your base could be a rectangle, your base could be a triangle, your base could be a hexagon, a pentagon. Are you with me? So it depends on what shape your base is as to which formula you will use to solve it. So anytime you see a big B, it means come back to your area section. You're going to use the surface area formula, but you're going to come back to the area section to find and use that big B. Okay? Ms. Ramsey, I have no idea what you're talking about. Makes no sense. Good, let's do one. Okay? If it says find surface area, it means total. They'll be very specific. They will be very specific. This means total. So my total surface area is perimeter of the base times the height plus 2 times the area of the base. So what shape do we want to use as the base? Does it matter? not for total, just for lateral, okay? So which one do you want me to use for the base? The 10 and the 8 again? Okay, so this side is 10 because this is 8, that means this one here is 8 and 8. So the perimeter would be 10 plus 10 plus 8 plus 8. So that's what, 36? What would be my height? Aha, the 24, that's the line that connects the two bases. Now, what shape is my base? Good, it's a rectangle. What's the formula for area of a rectangle? Good, base times height. So now I'm just looking at my rectangle here. What numbers would I use? Good, 8 times 10, which gives me 80. Now I can come back over here and plug in perimeter of my base. My perimeter would be 36 times my height, which is 24. And then the area of my base is going to be 80. So what is 36 times 24? 864.
Yes.
Thank you. And then 2 times 80 is 160. And that means that my answer is at 1024. 1024 what? Inches squared. Very good. I want you to try number 2. Okay, I want you to try number 2. Alright, so this shape is made mostly out of what? How many triangles are there?
2,
How many rectangles are there?
3.
So this is a prism. What kind of prism? A triangular prism, right? So that means the triangle is my base. Everybody with me? That means I'm using my triangle to find my perimeter. So it's 3 plus 4 plus, oh wait a minute, what's this other one? Why? Good, because you did Pythagorean theorem. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. 9 plus 16, that's 25. So that means that my other side is a 5. So 5 plus 4 plus 3 gives me 12. What would be my height? 6. It's the line that connects the two triangles, correct? Okay. Now I need to find the big B. Remember the big B says area of the base. What shape is my base? It's a triangle. How do I find the area of a triangle? Good. Base times height divided by 2. Remember from the last unit that you have to have 90 degrees, right? So here's my 90 degrees. My base and my height are going to be 4 and 3. Okay? 4 times 3 divided by 2, that's 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So now I'm going to come back over here and let's plug it in. Total is perimeter of the base times the height, 2 times big B. My perimeter we said was 12 times my height, which is 6. What's 6 times 12? 72, perfect. And then the area of my base we said was 6, so 2 times 6 is 12. So my total would be what? 84 what? Meters squared. Fantastic. Excellent. Okay, now I want you to try number 3. Try number 3. Okay, what is the shape made mostly out of? Rectangle. That makes it a prism, right? What shape is not a rectangle? Triangle. So that's why this is a triangular prism, which means the triangle is your base. Okay? So in order to do this, you need the big P. So I need to use the triangle. How big is this side right here? 6, because this one is 6, right? So this would be 6 plus 6 plus 6, which is 18. What's my height? 10, very good. Your height is the line that connects the two triangles. So that's 10. What shape is my base? a triangle. So how do I find the area of a triangle?
Base.
Good, it's going to be base times height divided by 2. Remember, you have to have 90 degrees, right? So if I come back up, here's my 90 degrees. So this is my height. This is my base. So it's going to be 6 times something divided by 2. But I don't know what that something is, do I? But if I remember, how big is this piece right here?
3.
3. So what would I do to find this piece here? Pythagorean theorem. Okay, now we also know that it's an equilateral triangle, so all the angles have to equal 60, don't we? So technically, I could also use trig to solve those answers. But here it would be x squared plus 3 squared equals 6 squared. X squared plus 9 equals 36. Subtract the 9. So x squared equals, what is that, 27? So x equals 5.3. So this number right here is 5.3. So what is 6 times 5.3 divided by 2? Is it 15.6? 15.9? Sorry. 15.9. Okay, now we have all the pieces I need. Now let's go plug it into our formula. Perimeter of our base is 18. Our height is 10. And the area of our base is 15.9. So this gives me 180. 2 times 15.9 is what, 31.2? Is that right?
I got 31.8.
31.8? Okay. And so my final answer would be what? Is it 211?
211.8.
211.8 centimeters squared. Okay. Questions? Not that much different from what we were doing, is it? Okay. This one on this next one, I want us to change. I don't want to find the lateral. I want us to find the total. Okay. So we're going to find the total surface area on this next one. I'm going to give you a second to think about it. Let's see how we did. If we're finding total, it's big P times H plus 2 big D, right? So the first thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to find the big P. Anybody know what the big P is? 75. Very good. And anybody know what the height is? Oh, because they told us, right? So the only other thing I need to do is find that big B. So right here, I know this is 75 times 10, which is 750. How many of you got that far and you got stuck? Okay, what shape is our base? A regular polygon. What's the formula? Good. What's the big P? 75, because that's the perimeter of my base, right? What's that A stand for? Apothem. Very good. This is our apothem, isn't it? Where do I go from there? Multiply what? I don't even have any numbers. What? Okay, but be careful. When it's talking about the big shape, there's actually, remember this is a prism, right? So this is the shape that they're actually looking at, and this line right here is 10. Right? The altitude of the prism is 10. Do what? 75 divided by 5. Why would I do 75 divided by 5? Good, because there are 5 sides, and if the perimeter of those sides is 75, that means that each side has to be 15. I know they all have to be exactly the same because it tells me that it's a regular shape, right? Are we okay there? It's 15 for each side, but not my apothem, right? So what would I do to find my apothem? What? Make it a triangle? You mean right here? So how big is this piece? 7.5, very good. Now what? Yeah, we gotta find this opossum, but I don't know how big this piece is. I don't have any angles. Remember, this is a regular shape. There's a circle on the outside, right? Good, so we're going to take 360 degrees divided by 5, and that tells me it's 72. So from radius to radius, that angle is 72 degrees, remember? And then I can cut that in half. That means this angle right here is really 36, because each side would be 36. And then from there, I can do my trig and say this is my hypotenuse, this is my opposite, this is my adjacent. So it would be the tangent of 36 degrees is equal to 7.5 over x. 7.5 is on top, so it's 7.5 divided by the tangent of 36. Remember to make sure your calculator is in degree mode. Right? 75 or 7.5 divided by tan of 36 gives you 10.3, I believe. Is that right? Okay. So 1/2 times 10.3 times 75 gives you what? 1/2 times 10.3 times 75. Is it like 386 or something? 386.25. And you're going to multiply that by 2. I think it's like 772.5. And you're going to add it to 750 and you get, is it 15 something? 1522.5 what? Centimeters squared. Very good. Are we good?